and welcome to our live stream service here at Hope United.
If you'd like to stay connected with us, then please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
And remember, you can join us at any of our services here in our Motherwell location or our Dundee location.
If you have any questions or would like more information, then please email us at info@hopeunited.org.uk.
Or you can visit our website at www.hopeunited.org.uk. Enjoy the service!
It's good. Let me just make a couple of announcements, couple of things to mention. Am I not on? Oh, get up for the live streamers. Sorry. Terrible. Sorry. Morning. Happy New Year to you live streamers. Hope you are well. Thanks so much for joining us here at Hope United. Sorry, my mic's just fell. It's good to have you with us wherever you're joining us from. I've just got a couple of announcements to make. We always have a big meeting in January, just like the 3rd of January or the 4th of January, and we just get through the first part. We used to do for January to December and talk about the plans for the church and what we're going to do. Now we get 3 months, we got up to Easter about plans and what we're going to do. And, the longer, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or probably just getting a deeper realisation. We used to have these meetings and it would be like, oh, this is going to change the world. You know when you used to, I don't know if you've ever, obviously no, but we used to have these meetings, you'd be like, we're going to change the world. This is it. This is the big move of God that's coming right now. And honestly, see each year that it passes, the striving, see if I had to pray for anything for you for 2018, it would be stop striving. Stop striving. I see, and I'm not judging it, but I see men of God and pastors striving and the posts they send in social media, it's all striving and the angles they send the posts for. Some of you do yourself a favour and stop following some people on social media in 2018, and that strivey stuff that makes you think somehow that God's no good enough for your life and these people are blessed all that. Some people, I sent a tweet recently, some people are no blessed, they've got a wallet. Yeah. Let's not call it, let's stop calling it favour and blessing and let's call it what it is, money and choices. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's money produces choices. See if you've got loads of money, you get choices. I don't have loads of money. I'm not interested in loads of money, but, well, no. But money just produces choices. Yeah. And then you've got these preachers and communicators sending stuff and, oh, look, I'm so blessed to have this. And yeah. Listen, that's called money and choices. Yeah. Let's stop bringing God into it, bringing God into your wallet, making it some sort of spiritual thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad to get that off my chest. That's what I've been thinking about. But it doesn't help people. Yeah. It doesn't help people and all the striving that goes on and thinking, here's 20 years on this journey. And here's what I've discovered. It's took me 20 years to discover this. It's shocking. Either Jesus is who he says he is, and he's going to do what he said he's going to do, or he's nothing. Yeah. What makes us think that we can somehow twist Jesus' arm up his back to make him do stuff? Yeah. Surely, if we just preach the gospel, we're true to God, we're true to his word, then let's just see what happens and let's stop thinking that we're going to come out with some eureka moment that's the next big move. That's the next big thing, And long since the older I get, the less it becomes about that. You just think, what, why don't we just love who we've got? Yeah. Serve the people who come, take care of them and mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, help them as much as we can. And let Jesus take care of the rest. Is that? No, surely it's him that builds the church at the end of the day. And no some guy from Motherwell's idea about what God's knows as if, God's waiting. I cannot imagine Jesus standing like that. waiting on your big idea. Waiting your big idea to love people. Do you honestly think Jesus is like that? I can't imagine Jesus like that. Waiting, Mr. O'Brien, for your big idea. Waiting. Would love to love people. Waiting on you. Waiting. I cannot imagine Jesus being like that. No, God like, aye, only if. Only if. Only if. I mean, and we get so caught up in that stuff, you know, and I honestly believe that what will happen in the next couple of years is that people will fall deeply in love with social media. Deeply in love with social media will do you a world of good. Stop pursuing that stuff. Stop measuring that stuff. Many are getting healing faith and many are getting demoralised by it. Some are drawn in healing faith because you see somebody not having as good a day, or some church not having a big event, or it didn't go as well, or some youth ministry or something that didn't go as well, and you're drawn for all sorts of stuff. I see it and I just think, no, get yourself fast for social media. Fast with social media, you know, because see if you start looking at your social media posts in the last couple of years, ask yourself how authentic you actually are, or if you became a social media person, because you end up getting to the stage you think, that's not even me it's posting them. That's my social media me it's posting them. I've got a whole different persona called social media person. It's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, I have got that off my chest. I feel so much better for it. Let me just mention a couple of things. My thinking church is starting. My non-striving thinking church is starting next Friday, first episode. So 10, 12-minute videos, me and Fraser. And we talk about all sorts of subjects. How not to strive, how not to compare yourself on social media to other people who are super spiritually, amazingly blessed. How not to... whatever. Anyway, it's going to be awesome. So that's every Friday morning they come out, and they're only 10, 12 minutes. You can listen, and by the time you get to work, you've listened to it, so they're no long-winded. And that's coming up. Other stuff that's coming up is in Friday, we're going to be fasting, that's right. So we usually fast at the start of the year, so we're going to do that, and I think it's the end of March, the 25th to the 27th, sorry, the 25th to the 27th of January, we're going to be fasting. And then at the end of that, we're going to have a devotion night, or a worship prayer night. You know, it's still early enough in the year to press into what we're going to do. Okay, one more thing just to mention, and these are always difficult things to mention because we're always changing. And even if you stay the same, you need to change. Yeah. Seriously, even if you stay the same, some of your houses, even to keep it the same, it needs a revamp. Do you know what I mean? Even to keep things fresh, you need to change. So obviously we changed, and we changed services. We went to Sunday morning and then Sunday night in Dundee, doing Saturday nights here. We're going to change it again. And you're like, what? No, but we're not actually changing it. What we're going to do is, and some of you, just bear with me here. There's loads of reasons why we're going to do this. And we don't just come up with this in a whim. We think the big picture through. What we're going to do is we're not going to do Saturday nights as such on a weekly basis anymore. I'll tell you, there's loads of reasons why we're doing that. One, we want to free ourselves up on Saturdays. We want to free ourselves up on Saturday nights. We want to free people up on Saturday nights so that we can do other things on Saturdays, as and when, whether it be here in Motherwell, we have special events on Saturdays, or we go and do some in Dundee so that it's keeping it open. We want to do that. The other reason is... we feel that this season in our church, we don't want people over-serving. We want people to serve, but we want people to experience church. Yeah. And I think the thing is, see, the more you do, the more people have to serve. I think this frees people up. Some of you up as well, even if you want to come to Dundee to serve, because you're not going to be on the road near as much because of that. You can get involved in that. We are going to do a first Wednesday. We've done this a wee while ago, a few years ago, so there'll be one service a month on a Wednesday night, first Wednesday, and we may well bring in different people to speak at that or whatever. That's going to be first Wednesday. So every service is going to be just a Sunday morning here and then a Sunday night, which will be in Dundee. There'll be a first Wednesday, and then other Saturday nights we'll do different events, different stuff, prayer nights, all sorts of stuff that'll come to Saturday that'll free us up to kind of invite people and bring people to different things rather than this constant stuff. So that's where we're going with that. It won't necessarily affect MD. Years ago, we used to fling the kitchen sink at everyone because I felt I needed to get you more devoted. Let me tell you something. See, if I need to create a service for you to follow Jesus, you're in trouble. Yeah. Big trouble. If I need to create an event for you to stay following Jesus, it's not an event you need. It's an encounter you need. Seriously, if you think you need that, no, if you think we need, no, because we need to keep people and we need to, This year's going to be a year of devotion if we're devoting ourselves. So Sunday morning here, Sunday night, Sunday at 5 in Dundee, first Wednesday, and then there'll be events throughout the year, once a month, all different times on Saturday to free us up, to invite people. We can do Saturday afternoon things and all sorts of stuff. And we're not too sure where that'll go, but that's where we're going for the time being anyway. Okay, let's go to a scripture. Let's go to Luke 17. Luke 17 this morning. And many of you will know this scripture, but I'm just going to read it, give you a bit of information, then I'm going to go back through it and kind of share what I feel that God's put in my heart with this scripture. Okay, now it happened as he went to Jerusalem. This is talking about Jesus. He passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. Then as he entered a certain village, there met him 10 men who were lepers, who stood afar off, and they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. So when he saw them, he said to them, go show yourselves to the priests. And so it was that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, returned and with a loud voice glorified God and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. So Jesus answered and said, were there not 10 cleansed, but where are the 9? Were there not any found to return to give glory to God except this foreigner? And he said to him, arise, go your way, your faith has made you well. Okay, let me give you some facts about leprosy. You've maybe heard me talking about this before, but I'll give you, just in case you're not sure. Leprosy still exists, certainly in certain areas of Africa. Leprosy can be healed today, but unfortunately, there are areas in Africa where people have not been healed yet of that, even though there's vaccinations and stuff, which is tragic, really, isn't it? When Jesus walked in the 3 years in what he walked, pretty much he eradicated, which is amazing. Jesus pretty much eradicated disease in Holy Israel. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Because it says that Jesus healed and restored and created miracles that there's no book would be big enough to record. In Matthew, there's 5 miracles in Matthew. Why he's picked 5, I don't know, but there's 5 miracles in Matthew. But Jesus performed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miracles to the point of view that he pretty much eradicated disease in Israel during that time, which baffles you really that Jesus was able to eradicate all this illness, yet still people didn't believe in him. I think that's crazy, It gives you a bit of hope, doesn't it? So let me give you some facts about leprosy. Its modern name is a disease called Hansen's disease. That's what they would call it in the day's terms. It still exists in the world in certain areas in Africa, as I mentioned, and even though it can be cured. Leprosy is a nerve-ending disease. It affects the nerve endings. It affects feelings. People stop feeling pain. That's what it causes. Their fingers, it starts with a speck, usually in the eye. And then it goes from the eye and it spreads to the ear. And then it spreads to the mouth. And then it just starts to eradicate the nerve endings in your whole body. That's why leprosy in the Bible, and it's mentioned, I think 55 times in the New Testament, but it's mentioned so many times. There's a whole section in it in Leviticus about leprosy and how to deal with it and how to not deal with it and what you do with clothes with leprosy and all sorts of stuff. I mean, there is in-depth details in the Bible about leprosy. But the reason it's so mentioned so much in the Bible is because it's very symbolic with sin. They're a trendy, modern, 21st century church word, sin. Leprosy is almost always symbolic with sin, and because of the similarities of the condition, because it starts with just a speck. If you think about when you fall, we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. It just starts with, no. I think Billy Graham said a brilliant thing. He says it's not the first look at causes of sin. It's everyone that comes after it. And he asks what he does when he sins. He says, turn and run. Yeah. So it starts with a speck or like a little bit of infection in the eye usually, and then it goes through the eyes to the mouth to the ears, and slowly starts to take over your whole body, a bit like sin. Just starts with a wee bit, It's not that bad. It's just a wee bit, But then it goes when it's untreated, then it doesn't bother you. And then the next thing you know, you're like, I can just live that way. I can go out and get drunk every weekend and party, Marty. Come to church on a Sunday. Really doesn't bother me. I don't have any emotion about it. Doesn't bother me. I can watch all sorts of stuff. I can do anything I want. It just doesn't affect me. At first, it's painful. You know, it's John Bevere says this, that when we sin, he says, it's like a dagger entering our heart. Then the next time we do it, it's like a needle. And then as we just keep doing it, we don't feel anything. Yeah. It's amazing how we can, and that's why leprosy is always talked about as sin, because we just start to lose our feeling, and then as our body deteriorates, as it starts to overtake our whole life, lepers no longer feel things. There's stories being told, really, leprosy, this is modern time stories, no old time stories, in places where when people would sleep at night with the leprosy, because it's a horrible illness, it's a horrible disease. I don't even like talking about it because I'm squeamish with the best of things, you know what I mean? I don't even like looking at folks' illnesses, and I can hardly look at a spot in my face without feeling sick. Do you know what I mean? Is that just vain? I don't know. But anyway, so what would happen is that these people would go to sleep, and because their sores would all be open, and you can imagine what it's like, that even rats would come and feed off them. This is true, I know, nice New Year message. And rats would come and feed off them and actually bite the fingers right off the people. To the point they wouldn't even wake up. So then they would get up in the morning like, oh, I don't know what happened. And that's exact, or their fingers would turn. And, there's other talk in the Bible where Jesus healed people with leprosy, or the man who had the withered hand and different stuff. So rats would come with infection and feed on them and just bite the fingers right off people. They wouldn't feel a thing. There's another story, a man in Africa who had leprosy, and he ended up totally losing his full face, and his eyes were gouged out. What happened is he washed in a hot stream, and because he had no feelings, because his nerves were away, he had no feelings. He was washing himself in boiling water, to the point of view that his eyeballs actually melted. Really, I know. Nice thought, nice. Getting a picture here. Getting a picture. Lepers no longer feel things. They don't. They don't have feelings in their fingers. They don't have feelings in what's going on in their body, which makes it, they would scratch the head off. They just wouldn't know they were doing it. Lepers were therefore put away. They were put away. They were never allowed to get near people. They were put out of town and into colonies and stuff. You've heard of probably leper colonies. And they only done life with fellow lepers. Bit like what you do when you're not living right. You ever feel when you're not living right, you never want to be around about people that are living right? You don't even want to look at people that are not living right. I remember before I get saved, I couldn't even look at a saved person. I used to think that saved people could look into my soul. Did you ever think that? I think they can look, they know what's going on with me. They know what's going on. You just get nervous. Do you know, not that I was running about saved people very much, but I did work with a wee Christian guy who was more Christian than Jesus, as you know about him. He was more Christ-like than Jesus, this wee guy. And I used to think that when I used to come to work in the morning, I'd be like, he knows everything about me, and obviously he didn't, but I felt as if he hardly knew enough about himself, but I felt as if he knew everything about me, and I felt as if he could look right into my life and right into my soul. And these lepers just done life with each other because they ended up in this place, this Lodi bar that Mephibosheth lived in the Old Testament sort of thing, where they would all congregate together, you know what I mean? I remember when I get sober, my pal says to me when I get sober, 20 years ago nearly, and I get sober, and I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and my pal, one of my best pals, says, "You're not that bad." 4 years later, he was there. I was never that bad because I was running about them. Running about sober people, I was a psychopath. But running about people who were as mad as me or as damaged as me, that's the only people I was comfortable with. I used to say this before I get sober, that I never I didn't like doing life with sober people because I didn't trust them. That's what I used to say, which was a lie. What I meant is I didn't do life with sober people because I was fear to them, because I felt as if that they were living a better life than me, and I couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with that. So these lepers done life, they surrounded themselves with people just like them. No, that's who were comfortable. It's a bit like the pool of Bethesda and where Jesus goes, and you've got all these people, all the lame and all the sick and all the hurting and all the broken, and all this false promise that when water stirs up that somebody's going to be healed. You know the guy lying the lame's not going to be the guy who gets healed. You know what I mean? There's no way he's going to get up. You know, but they've done life there, and that suited them because it kind of anaesthetised their life and anaesthetised the way they lived, and they didn't live right. And, you know, there's a statement, you hear this, show me your friends and I'll show you you. Show me who you're following, I'll tell you where you're heading. And we can become comfortable, and these lepers just lived this life. Okay, that's enough. I'll maybe mention a few more things, facts about lepers as I go through, but here's the title of the message. The title of the message is the Leper Who Turned. The Leper Who Turned. And I think over the last few months, as maybe the church, as we've been a bit more expository in our communication of God's word, I've been finding it harder to come up with titles because I just think, who cares? Who cares what the title's called? Let's just call it, just for the sake of a buzzword, you know, I'd probably just rather call it, let's just call it Luke 17, but it's boring, isn't it? Let's just call it Luke 17, but to be honest with you, I couldn't care less what the title's called. The only thing I care about is that we remember it. You know what I mean? And this is maybe the best way to remember it, the Leper Who Turned. Sometimes you have message titles and you mention it, and then you go, I've not got a clue. What was that message? What was it called? And it's called something that's totally irrelevant to you. Pretty much, if you're looking for this, you'll find it, the Leper Who Turned. You'll have to go somewhere to know what this means. So let's get back to the story, and I want to pick out some things that I believe hopefully will help us as I've studied this recently. Let's get back, and I'll just get back through 11, 12, 13, 14, back to 19. So we'll go back to verse 11 again. Now it happened as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. Then as he entered, you've got to remember now we're at chapter 17 here of Luke. Jesus has performed many miracles. Many times Jesus performed miracles and he just said to people, don't tell anybody about this. The reason being is because he was in God's timing for the cross. Whereas by chapter 17, pretty much the ball's in the slates here. Do you know what I mean by that? Pretty much he's stuck, he's in bother here. You know, he's at chapter 17, he's performed so many miracles. People know who he is now. By chapter 5, Jesus was called keeping a low profile because he had so many more things to teach and equip the disciples with and to equip the apostles with. But by now we're at chapter 17 now, he's like, pretty much game's a bogey here. Game's a bogey here. Tell who you want, you know, about who I am, because it's pretty much over shortly anyway. Now it happened as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. Then as he entered a certain village there, met him 10 men who were lepers, who stood afar off. You can understand why they stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on me. Another thing that lepers would have had is a loss of their voice. Their vocal cords would have went. It's almost very synonymous with people with lepers. So therefore, them coming together and having this loud voice, trying to create a noise, trying to get understanding, trying to get Jesus' attention because they've no voice. And I don't know, try and just relate parallels to this to your life. I don't know if you can remember or you've ever had a time in your life when you almost feel so inadequate that you can't cry out to God. Yeah. I remember the times in my life I felt so inadequate, I felt so unworthy. I thought, I don't even feel as if I've got a right to even ask God for help. I'm so pathetically unworthy. I'm such a sinner and such a bad person. Like, I don't even feel worthy enough of asking Jesus for help. So these lepers' vocal cords would have been deeply damaged. So they would have been struggling to create a noise. They also say master, which I think is an important thing. So these guys know Jesus, at least by reputation, if not who he really is. They know him more than a rabbi or just a teacher because they're saying master. They don't maybe have much faith because they're calling him master, but they've got some because they know that he's more than just a guy who brings good teaching in Jewish law. There's someone who they probably see beyond the norm. They were desperate. Desperate people would cry out. Wow. Sometimes it takes desperate. Thank God we feel pain. Oh, thank God we feel pain. There's a book by a man called Philip Yancey called, I can't remember if it's called I can't remember the name of the book. I think it's The Advantage of Pain or something like that. But he does a test. His daughter has a baby and he gets the baby and the daughter's kind of, I don't know where she's in the bathroom or something, and he gets his wee grandson and he grabs the grandson and he pulls a pin. He pulls a pin out his top jacket pocket and he grabs his grandson and holds him up. Don't know how he does it, but he holds him up anyway and he gets a pin and he sticks it right into the baby's underside of the foot and then he just holds the baby back. And then just all of a sudden, just this massive scream. And he lifts the baby to God and says, praise God. Praise God that this child can feel pain. Because there's a serious problem in your life when you stop feeling pain. Pain is a gift to your life. When you don't feel pain, it's a problem. When you became immune to feeling any sort of pain, so it becomes a problem. So these guys can at least know that Jesus, they're desperate. They're desperate enough, even though they don't feel physical stuff. Their soul, the shame that they'll carry, the isolation, the total ostracization of their life. They may not steal stuff in the flesh, but their soul's deeply crying out for something. It says in verse 14, so when he saw them, meaning that he maybe never heard them, which further coincides with the very point that even though they were screaming and shouting that they couldn't be heard, it says when he saw them. It doesn't say when he heard them. It says when he saw them. Sometimes we think, oh, well, I need to say this to Jesus and I need to ask Jesus for that and I need to ask Jesus that. Sometimes just like you would with your own son or your grandson or your daughter or whatever, or somebody you love, you just need to look at them to know what's going on in them, to want to go and help them. They don't need to say anything. And Jesus is very much like that. Listen, we're thinking, oh no, you have not because you've no prayed and all this stuff and you're not saying the right prayers to get the right thing. Do you honestly believe that Jesus just can't look at people who he loves and look at the people who he loves? God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son, that he can't just look at us and see our pain? For a lot of the time and a lot of stuff that I think that I've got breakthrough in my life, it wasn't even stuff that I'd said. I think Jesus just looked at me and said, I need to help that boy. I just need to help that boy. He can't even say anything. I've no voice. But he feels our pain. And he obviously sees the state of these guys. These guys' faces would have been a mess. Their whole body would have been a mess. So it says when he saw them, he said to them, go show yourselves to the priests. So it was that they went and they were cleansed. It says when he saw them, which again, as I say, confirms two things. One, that it was not what he heard that moved him. Sometimes it's what he sees. We have become obsessed in Pentecostal charismatic church. We're no Pentecostal charismatic church. We maybe Pentecostal, but certainly trying to get away from not so much the charismatic, but the nonsense that goes with it, the chaos that goes with it, that thinks that we need to twist God's arm up his back, that somehow the next you're not praying powerfully enough. Yeah. You ever fell asleep praying? Yeah. Oh, talking. Fell asleep praying hundreds of days. I've prayed in them and into scoring goals in cup finals. Any guys? Yeah, score goals in cup finals lying in bed at night. That's kind of thing I do. Or build extensions. I do two things. We usually am lying in bed at night praying. I try and pray, usually drift away into scoring goals in cup finals. See that goal that Pele scored and escaped to victory? I've scored that many times lying in bed at night. You know that one? No, that's drifting away from my super spiritual prayer, and then I'm building an extension as well. And then falling asleep. How unspiritual is that? As if somehow that makes me lesser because I've not prayed enough, because you've not claimed your day enough and you've not prayed it enough, or you've not done it, and then we guilt people into, well, you've not prayed it enough, especially how you think especially in Roman Catholicism and all this stuff, and it's all behaviour based and stuff, and you're not saying your prayer enough, and this prayer is there enough, and this, you're like, I don't even know what to pray. And you just, so, anyway, but this confirms again that Jesus just doesn't help what he hears, he helps what he sees. It was not what he heard that moved him, but what he's seen. Secondly, Jesus wasn't afraid to get close. Jesus is not frightened to get close to your problem. Jesus is not worried about getting contaminated, getting close to your sin. He's not got a problem with that. He then says, go show yourself to the priest. This is what the law states in the Old Testament. I was talking about Leviticus. See, in the Old Testament, when Jesus says, go and show yourself to the priest, these guys would have known that that's what happens with lepers. So the priests and the religious people at the time, they were the doctors. They were the ones that decided whether you were healed enough. And then if you weren't healed enough, then they would put you in quarantine for another 7 days. So the priest would check you. They would think you sinned, so they wouldn't want this sin into the church or into the holy place. These guys weren't allowed near anywhere holy. These guys were not allowed near a church, nor near anywhere where other people were near. So what would happen is in Old Testament and right through, and Jesus is talking about this, saying, go and show yourself to the priest. They've done this on a few occasions. Go and show yourself to the priest. You know, I heard somebody saying, oh, go and show yourself to the priest, because Jesus was saying, I heard a preacher saying this recently, because you have to get into a holy place or into this and that. But it's none of the kind. That wasn't why he was saying it at all. The reason he was telling them to go there is because this was the law. This was a law that you would do, that it would only be the priest, it would only be the religion that would allow to pardon you for this condition. So he would say, go. Jesus says then, go to the priest, and go to the priest who would then verify if they had been healed or whether they were still contaminated. And then it says, when Jesus said, go show yourself, read this, that they were healed. And listen, Jesus could heal people no matter what. No, people like, no, it's your faith. No, on this occasion, Jesus healed these guys. So these guys are walking. And picture the story. This is not a parable. This happens. So these guys come. Jesus says to them, go show yourselves to the priest. Nothing's happened yet. Nothing's happened. And as these guys start walking, they're like, imagine this. Picture this. These guys start walking. They're like, look at you. What do you mean, look at? Because they probably noticed it in each other first before they noticed it in themselves. But as these guys go anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Jesus could heal people. But there seems to be something in this story that the healing comes for action. The healing comes for them actually. Go and show yourself to the priest. Right, okay, we're away. Nothing's happened yet, but there seemed to be something about this obedience. That through obedience that are healing. Now Jesus will heal people who are not obedient. How can he... What? How can Jesus heal people that are not obedient? Tell me how much faith a dead person has.
That's good.
Do you think a dead person's no faith? He's dead. Did Jesus raise a dead person? Yeah. How much faith did he have? None. Oh, that dead person had hundreds of faith. He had no faith. He's dead. So Jesus doesn't just heal people who have got faith or no faith. So there kills that stuff. There does away with all that stuff, that somehow the reason you're not getting breakthrough in your life is because you're not performing enough, or you're not praying enough, or you're not claiming your day enough, or you're not giving enough, or you're not tithing enough, or you're not presenting. We're not talking about blessing here that Vicky talked about at the start. But here's Jesus. Jesus healed. They're dead, made the dead walk. I mean, I think you can't get used. I don't think God can use me. Use dead folk. I mean, you've got hope. I don't think God can use me. Oh, I used a dead person. Oh, really? I might have a chance. It might even be hope for me. The last time I looked, I think I was still breathing. Well, some of yous anyway. No, and I'm looking at some of yous, and I'm not sure yous are. I'm not sure yous are, but most of you seem to be breathing. And he says, go show yourselves, and they were healed. Jesus could heal people no matter what. He healed people who didn't have faith. He raised people from the dead. He healed people who had faith. He healed people who had no faith. But here it seems that there's an act of obedience that seems to, and I believe this is based on leprosy and sin. There seems to be an act of obedience when we're sinning that seems to bring healing. No. And this was the defining factor in this healing. Especially because it's sin-based. It goes on and says, verse 15, 16, time's starting to go. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, returned with a loud voice, glorifying God, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks, and he was a Samaritan. So, imagine this. They're all walking. These 10 guys are just like, right, we've been told to show ourselves to the priest. They've not been healed yet. So Jesus has just said, go and show yourself to the priest. Okay, they turn. They start walking, and they must be having a conversation. I don't know what. You wonder what they're talking about as they start walking here, because they're heading towards the priest. And then they must just look at each other and go, oh, look, you're looking terrific. No, as terrific as you. Look, I'm healed. And just one of them, now 9 of them just keep walking. Now, I don't know what's going on with day, but I'm going to explain as I bring this into land what's going on in name that's not going on in this other guy, because this other guy just goes, stuff the priests. That's what I'd be like. Stuff the priests here. Just keep walking, and he's like, oh. He's like, I'm getting back. I'm healed with this guy here. 9 of them just keep walking. No, we're just going to go and show ourselves to the priest. Why? I believe in, as you look at the story and then you look at verse 18, it says that he was a foreigner, where the other 9, I believe there were 10 lepers here. I believe only one of them was a Samaritan. It's pretty obvious that the other 9 were Jewish. And they were steeped in religion, and they were steeped in order, and they were steeped in a belief system. And they were, even though they were healed, they were still seem to be steeped in order and religion. So these 10 men start walking towards the priest, and suddenly they're looking at each other, recognizing each other. And the Samaritan guy, the foreign guy, probably the only Samaritan there, the other 9 probably being Jewish. This guy's like, hold on. This master who's just performed something spectacular here. Yeah. I'm getting back. Yeah. I'm getting back. I want more. Yeah. I want more. And I know this message over the years has been talked about. It's a gratitude message. And it is a gratitude message in an extent, but it's more than that. I want to worship him. Yeah. Know the priest in the synagogue. I wasn't even allowed in there anyway. Why would I keep on wanting to go? Here's the big land coming. Why do I keep on wanting to go where I don't get love and accepted? Yeah. Why is it so many people keep pursuing the thing that never gets them acceptance, but yet they keep pursuing it anyway? Yeah. Even though Jesus has healed you, you still keep on looking for love for the boyfriend. Yeah. Jesus has healed you. Why are you still looking for acceptance for them? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? Why am I still looking for love and acceptance for my family, even though Jesus has healed me here? But I'm following the instruction rather than the revelation. Yes. I'm following the old instruction. See, the instruction they got was pre-healing. Wow. When Jesus instructed them, they weren't healed. It wasn't until they walked they get healed. And so many people, I think, they're following the instruction of their past. Wow. Rather than the transformation of their life today. Wow. And this guy's like, I want to get back. I'm getting back to I'm getting back. I wasn't even allowed. I wasn't even quoted there anyway. Has any of you seen, there's a new film out there now called The Greatest Showman. Has any of you seen it? I'd say do yourself a favour before the week's out is go and see it. I don't normally recommend films too much because, some of them, me and Fraser are film buffs, so we talk about stuff. He likes different films to me, do you know what I mean? And I'm a thinker, but I know how to switch off my brain and get into child mode. Fraser Disney. Fraser's too deep. So I would say go and see The Greatest Showman. It's phenomenal. But go in as a child. Don't go in as an adult looking for meaning, looking for what happened to you when you were 7. Trying to find deep understanding for the world. Just get in as a child and watch it. It's phenomenal. But there's a bit in the film, and it kind of follows the film. It's a story of Barnum. It's probably not even real. I would say it's a fiction film, even though the character's real, because it's so out there, fantasy-wise, that it's probably no totally right in line with what happened. But the guy was real, Barnum was real. The music's phenomenal, and I'll sing you a song at the end. But it's just amazing. And there's one thing he had. He creates a circus, and probably the reality of that was there have been people abusing people. But listen, let's not go there. Let's not go where Fraser goes with the film, all right? Okay, because it's no helpful, okay? But really what he did is he got all the misfits and all the folk who would live in Old Testament Lo-debar and these lepers and these social outcast people, and he had talents and gifts, and he created a show, which became the circus, okay? But here's the thing, he was a homeless guy and he came from nothing. He came from nothing. His dad was a tailor and he died when he was young, probably tuberculosis or stuff that people would die in poverty, that people would die through their diet and through the climate and how they live their life, lack of any sort of vitamins of any kind. And his dad died young, which made him a homeless guy. And he was ostracised, but he worked for a rich family. And they had a daughter. I'm like, listen, it's not a film that I'm giving the plot away just in case. Don't tell us how it ends. You know how it ends. It's no one of these kind of films. Okay, and even if you don't, it doesn't matter. I'll sing it at the end. But what happens is he goes out and he starts this show. And it's a musical, so it's singing all the way through. But there's something missing for his life. Even though he's empowering people and building people up and loving people, and these people are finding meaning to their life and purpose for their life, he's never accepted with a certain type of people. He's never accepted with a certain type of, the people that he needs to be accepted by. And because he's not accepted with the type of people, he neglects the gift that he's got. He neglects the gift that he's got. He neglects the very people that he's helping and transforming and reaching, because he gets so consumed by trying to get accepted with the high society. And as I was preparing this message, I got thinking about it a bit like these lepers, that they're so consumed with being accepted by the religious people and by the people who had rejected them that they've actually missed the point of who had healed them and who had restored them. They just missed out on that because they're so busy. Jesus has healed them. But yet they're still looking for acceptance for people who are naysayers or people who don't like them. I say, as I bring this in, Fraser, do you want to come up? The one other guy says, I'm not looking for religion, I'm looking for a relationship. Yeah. I'm not looking to fully my past. So many, whether in this room, watching here, or if you listen to this podcast later, one of the greatest things that will happen to you in 2018 is that you stop trying to get acceptance for people who will never, ever, ever get you. They're hell-bent on not getting you. Yeah. But yet, their people seem to be the people that we want acceptance of the most, even though Jesus is here saying, I've given you everything, I've healed you, I've restored you, I've set you free. One guy goes back. Then Jesus says an amazing thing, which I love. I'll move on and before I go there. Here's this guy running back, shouting and singing. I love that. And you know you can hear him then, because it says he was singing with a loud voice. This voice of his, Jesus, I love that picture. Some of you can't sing to Jesus. Some people are not singing what Jesus has done for them because they're going to offend him who they're looking for acceptance of. And I don't want to sing there because I'm too busy. I need acceptance. I'm looking for acceptance here that I can't even sing to the Jesus who's restored me. And he returns with a loud voice, and I love that picture. This guy returned with a loud voice. Verse 17 and 18, as we bring this in, says, so Jesus answered and said, were they not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? I love that Jesus asked that. Where are the 9? You know where they are. You sent them. It's very rhetorical. Jesus is like, where are the 9? He's not asking the guy where the 9 is because he doesn't know where they are. Because at the end of the day, Jesus says, go and show yourself. Young Jesus, you have your head. Have you got a short memory? Have you got a short memory? Did you not send him to the priest? Did you not send him to the priest? And he's like, where are the other 9? Were there no any found to return to give glory to God except this foreigner, except this guy who wasn't looking for acceptance for people? Except this guy wasn't looking for acceptance for his past. See, here's the thing about leprosy that I never mentioned is one of the things that leprosy affects people's lives when you've got leprosy is your short-term memory. Wow. Forget you only have a long-term memory. Wow. So you forget what happened to you 20 minutes ago, but you can remember what happened to you 5 years ago. You forget what Jesus done for you yesterday, but you can remember that your mum didn't say that you were amazing 2 years ago. Do you get what I mean? You forget what Jesus says to you yesterday and how much you were loved and how blessed you are today because you're worrying that your dad didn't give you a bite when you were 6. You can remember that bit, but you can't remember what Jesus done for you the day. And Jesus was highlighting these people's need for acceptance for a society who shunned them. For a society and for a people who, how many people have I seen over the years? I'm thinking too many, honestly, who did an encounter with Jesus, who gave their life to Jesus, but kept on pursuing acceptance and approval for people who were far from God. People who are in relationships, I've got to say this, it's killing you. Killing you. In a relationship with a heathen. But your acceptance, your need for their acceptance is greater than you pursuing and worshipping the Jesus who set you free. Society shunned them, they were still pursuing a religion. 9 Jewish guys caught up and steeped in law and steeped in traditions and steeped in the desire to be accepted and approved of people. Yet a miracle happened in their life. But they were still pursuing works, still pursuing performance and acceptance. This isn't a message just about gratitude, people. It's about walking in the direction of your healing. And this is what I want to say. It's about walking in the direction of your healing and knowing the direction of your instruction you had before you were saved. So, as soon as the guy recognised he was healed, the religious instruction became irrelevant. They all should have turned. Really? They all should have turned. And no longer pursued their belief systems, which never brought healing but brought division in any way. It didn't bring them healing anyway. You ever notice that sometimes you're looking for acceptance for people that never help you? How crazy is that? I'm looking for love for people that don't like me. Do you know what? There's loads of people that don't like you, but there are enough that like you. You've been in a room, no, and you think you focus on the person that doesn't like you. There are 100 like you. I know loads of people don't like me, but I think some are all right with me. That'll do me. How many people are missing out on the real freedom and true relationship with God and Christ because even though they have been healed, they still can't seem to turn off from their pre-saved instruction in their life. I still don't feel loved. I still don't feel loved. I'll close with this. I heard a guy saying a brilliant thing there, talking about you're what you think you are and you're what you speak into your life. You were bought at a price. You were bought at a price. Yeah. You were bought by the blood of Christ. That's what you were bought by. You were bought by the blood of Christ. That makes you a slave to Him. See, if you want to know who you are, that's who you are. You were bought at a price. Why then would we try to follow a pre-saved instruction that tells you you're no good, you're no worthy, you're no this, you're no that, with this stuff that will never come? Acceptance for humans that might or may never come. Trying to get blue-eyed handsome boy to become Mr. Romantic. And he doesn't need to be Mr. Romantic, he needs to be Mr. Saved. Absolutely. That would go amiss. If he was Mr. Saved, he would know how to love you. People have had a healing. And these guys had a healing. But their memory is so in the past that they still can't seem to walk in a way that only hears for their pre-saved life. How many can't remember what Jesus did for us today? You breathing? Brilliant. That means time up. Go on the drums. No, seriously, go on the drums. You'll not interrupt my message again. Go on the drums. No, I get it. No, kidding, the rest of the band came up anyway. How many people are living a life where they can't remember what Jesus done for them today, but you remember what somebody done to you yesterday? Remember what somebody said to you yesterday or last week, but know what Jesus has done for you today. This is what this message is about. This is what Jesus is teaching. Sin's like that, innit? Shame's like that, innit? Loves you to remember what you never got right yesterday, doesn't it? Yeah. Loves you to remember the mistake of yesterday. Loves you to remember that you didn't get right. Loves you to remember the howler so that you don't have the courage to do the next thing. Yeah. The enemy yesterday keeps telling you you're not good enough. You need to keep walking. You need to get approval for people rather than turning and some people are so desperate. See, for years, I was so desperate to find acceptance for people that didn't like me. Exactly. Yet while still sinning, this is my final close. This is Stafford 3. Yet while still sinning and still full of sin, Jesus healed them. We're looking for acceptance for people who will never accept. But yet while still sinning, Jesus healed them. Accepted them while still sinning. Some of us could never be good enough for certain type of people. Don't you know that? You could just be never good enough. For people, some human beings, you could never be good enough, and see to be Jesus, you could never be bad enough. Yet you still pursue them. Verse 19, and he said to him, this is what he says to the guy who turns and goes back, who doesn't longer follow the instruction for his pre-saved self, who doesn't longer follow the voices that tell him that he's not good enough, or he needs approval, or he needs to present himself to some religious people who you probably never be good enough for. Arise. I love what he says next. He says, go your way. I love that. I love that. He doesn't say go in the way where man goes, go in the way where religion goes. He's made a list. He says to the guy, you're a free man now. Saved. He says, your faith has made you well. This guy's got salvation now. He's not just get healed, he's get saved, he's get restored. Go your way. Jesus says, no, you don't need to go to the priests. Don't need to go to them who shunned you or didn't accept you. Or man no longer needs religious leaders to tell them what's wrong with them and what's right with them. To pardon them, to accept them. Scripture says goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. This is what this guy's living like. His freedom, his salvation now gives him the freedom to go where he chooses.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Please leave us a comment, drop us an email, let us know where you've tuned in from, and we'll see you soon.